We're starting.
Alright guys, welcome to episode 2 of Den of the Silver Fox. I'm your host Cagney. With me today returning we got Tor.
Hello.
And as a new guest we have my buddy Landon.
Hello.
So this week we're going to talk about movies. Specifically the movie we all watched this week called The Lighthouse.
It was weird.
Trippy.
It was, I think they were going for like a psychological horror, right? Because it's very much, there's not a lot of jump scares, if any. And it was mostly just the scenario in and of itself being spooky.
Yeah.
It's mostly uncomfortable, though.
Yeah, I would
like
say
tense.
100% that. And I think what I had to watch it twice, actually, because I noticed the movie was homosexual. And I don't mean that as in like it was terrible.
It
but
definitely
it
had those tones, but real quick. So for those who haven't seen the movie, it stars Willem Dafoe and what's the Robert Pattinson, yeah, Batman Twilight guy, as two wickies on a lighthouse in the remote area somewhere around Nova Scotia, Canada, around that border area, and them kind of delving into cabin fever type things. But
yeah, they get trapped by a storm.
They're there longer than they need to be, but I definitely agree there's like homosexual undertones.
It's a power dynamic thing because men are so like, especially the old guy, he was like so dominant and like
the authoritative, like that.
Yeah,
like,
and
I
he
have
always
power.
referred to Robert Pattinson's character as like a woman, like housekeeper, like he was not only doing that, but also calling him a dog, like a worker, and all that stuff. It was a power dynamic thing.
Kid and laddie.
I almost got like Oedipus undertones from it.
A little bit, yeah. I could see that.
It would fit the theme.
What really set it off for me, realizing like those tones were in there, because at first I was just like two weird,
Weirdos.
Crazy dudes that are on an island. But it was when Robert Pattinson was reshingling the roof, and he looks down through the hole in the roof, and he sees Willem Dafoe dry humping his mattress, and I was like, nowhere on the face of the earth you can find a heterosexual man that wouldn't have started like making fun of him or being like, hey, I see you jacking your little wee wee, because men in like traditional like masculine professions like that from the dawn of time have had that kind of interaction. Like Roman soldiers used to draw dicks in walls in caves.
I agree,
like,
but at the same
They
time,
each other all the time, though.
but at the same
these
time,
cultural things.
it was a different time. This was like over 100 years ago, give or take. They don't tell you the year exactly, but plus he was in a submissive position, being like the underling.
Yeah,
and the guy had already been kind of an asshole to him. So the fact that he kind of let that go, I could see that.
Let's not forget that he had let his previous dude die, like his previous mentor, foreman dude, whatever, die. So he's trying to get back from that. So he's not trying to stir up trouble and shit by saying,
True, yeah.
Oh,
he's
I saw you
trying
jacking
to be,
off.
not to.
He's trying to be incognito.
But I think her point makes more sense than yours, because you were my boss for a long time, and if I heard you jerking off in the bathroom, I'd have been like, hey, what are you doing in there?
True, but this was, like I said, this was a different time. This is like the Victorian era where people were more prudish.
True.
That's true. What I mean? So,
they certainly weren't
they
very prudish later on.
Yeah, later.
This
but
dude stripped down every night and sat in front of a light jerking off. And still he didn't say anything. He's like, he mentions the lantern, but he's not like, so what's so good about this light that you get off to it every fucking night? Like,
well, they didn't have that familiarity yet. Plus, it was one of those things where he's trying
I'd be
to...
like, your cum almost dripped on my face, motherfucker. What is so good up there?
I thought that was because there's like an octopus tentacle. I thought he was up there like...
It was cum, but then
I think it's
like,
made to be ambiguous, like it's what you think it might be.
So there are theories going around that it could have been just like a figment of his imagination that he was like tentacly, but there was also a theory that Willem Dafoe's character was a son of Poseidon, and that he was basically sacrificing these dudes by driving them crazy, because his previous wiki, his previous apprentice or whatever the hell,
also disappeared.
also went crazy, had the same mermaids, all these different, like, hallucinations, and then Robert Pattinson's character found his head in the freaking crab trap. Mm-hmm. Like, all of that could be in his head, or it could be real.
Let's not forget Willem Dafoe's character was hardcore fucking with this dude's head the entire time.
Yeah.
No, you did that. No, you hit the axe and you hit the boat.
You destroyed the boat and chased me in here with the axe.
You've been ignoring your chores. No, I did work. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
He was being a dick.
I feel like he almost gets typecast sometimes, but he is a good crazy person. Willem Dafoe is a fantastic... In terms of intense facial expression, him and Jim Carrey are... for me, the gold standard of, like, this guy's going to be insane.
But also
That's why I watched Sonic, because Jim Carrey was amazing.
But also one of those things where you can, like, be typecast and not want to be typecast, but if you're good at it and you know you're good, why would you not keep doing it?
Yeah, if you get paid well for it, you might as well.
Yeah, and if you really enjoy it as well.
Okay, that's fair. They enjoy it.
Yeah, if you enjoy it.
Being crazy is fun.
That started getting typecast. Like Henry Winkler didn't find a lot of work after he did the Fonz.
Yeah, for like 20 years. Yeah,
turned over Grease for it. He was just like, nah, I don't want to be that greaser guy. But yeah, damn, Willem Dafoe's still a good actor.
Yeah, he's always been a good actor.
He's like the white man's Morgan Freeman because he looks the same now as he did in like Spider-Man the original with Tobey Maguire.
Dude, have you seen him from the '80s? What was that movie, Platoon?
Oh yeah! Oh my god,
looks the same.
He looks Tim listens to this. My buddy Tim, shout out to Tim, listening to this. He's probably gonna go watch Platoon like immediately after this. I think he watches Platoon like twice a month.
That's a classic.
That is such a good film.
Yeah, it's really good, and he looks the exact same as he did back then.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You got a little more wrinkles, but I mean that how's everybody?
Yeah,
that's just how it works.
With crow's feet and stuff. But no, like they both give amazing performances, though.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson said, like, he didn't want it to be, like, the lighthouse is enchanted or there's some enchantment going on that's going crazy. He was like, I literally just want to play the craziest motherfucker I can. And
see, to me, I feel like it was kind of a combination of Willem Dafoe's character fucking with him and his also mental instability from feeling the guilt. Because you could tell he really felt guilty about not helping this
You saw him
dude.
when he was jacking off.
Yeah.
You saw his performance.
Yeah, that
face.
scream. Ah!
Yeah.
That guilt was, I think, also like accentuated everything that he was feeling. Because he really felt guilty like near the end too. I feel like, at least. Mm-hmm. You know, his character was just like deteriorating so rapidly. You know,
I think it's a good example of how decent an actor Robert Pattinson actually is.
Oh yeah.
You remember? I think. Because if you ask most people, they'd be like, "Oh, he was Edward in
Twilight."
In Twilight, and those movies are so terrible that I thought he was a bad actor. And then I saw him in this, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe he's not bad. Maybe that movie was just terrible."
Good movies too.
Because maybe it's just the way the dialogue was written. I don't think I've seen anything with him, but because you look at like Hayden Christensen or Ewan McGregor, they're actually really, really fantastic actors, but the way dialogue is written in Star Wars, and this is sorry to burst anybody's bubble, like I'm a huge Star Wars guy. It is hard to listen to the vocal interactions with people.
General Kenobi.
Like his little pseudo romantic exchanges with Padme. I'm like,
oh god,
the Force intimacy.
Cringy.
Yeah.
So cringy.
I don't feel it. There's no This is definitely an abusive relationship.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson definitely got fucked over by the Twilight series.
But he's bouncing back. I mean, he's our new Batman.
Why is he the new Batman? Is he? What is he? Is he English? Right? Isn't Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, he's English. Yeah, English. British, English, whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he'll do. I guess so. Christian Bale is too. I guess.
Yeah, and look at Henry Cavill.
Cavill.
Yeah, he does a convincing. Henry Cavill is built like Superman, though, right? So I don't think, but Robert Pattinson is built like Batman Beyond. Physically, in my opinion, the closest we've gotten to Bruce Wayne is
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Nick Cage
I
for some reason. Like he's everywhere. He was Big Daddy. Is who he was.
I hated.
No, I agree. He did strike me as a Batman, but
yeah.
He
was like that intermediary between Batman Year Zero and Dark Knight Returns.
Now, counter argument though, a lot of people said that about Heath Ledger as the Joker before he came out, and look how good he did.
I still didn't like him.
You didn't like Heath Ledger as the Joker?
Not as the Joker I know and love. He was a Joker, not the Joker.
I think that was Christopher Nolan's take on it was my favorite, because I do like those when people get super close to reality with like plausibility and all the like the Batman gadgets or the whatever. I appreciated that take on the Joker a lot. But I mean, you're never going to beat Mark Hamill.
No.
You're never.
No.
No. Did you know? So I found out Mark Hamill does a lot more voice acting than I.
That's all he did like for 15 years.
He does Skips the Gorilla in Adventure Time. He does Firelord Ozai in The Last Airbender, which
he's pretty much in any animated show at one point or another.
Yeah, that's pretty much all he did after Star Wars for like 15 years, all the way through like the Joker, and then he finally started doing. I think he had the term in the Flash, but regardless, like I said, I think Robert Pattinson is going to do a decent job. I'm kind of waiting to see how he looks physique-wise, because that's going to be a big tell for me. Like, is he going to be good with that, or is he going to be like a kind of a skinnier one, Michael Keaton, possibly? I guess we'll wait and see, It'd
be interesting to see how yoked he gets.
That's what I'm saying, because he's a naturally slender guy, and I read reports that he was having trouble putting on muscle. But, yeah.
I mean, in this movie, he didn't look bad. He wasn't like super buff or anything, but he was
trimmed, though. He was cut. Yeah,
he was like, he's a lot.
He looks good with a mustache. To be honest,
he does.
He does.
He looks like Tarzan's dad, dude.
Oh, you're right, dude. If he had the mutton chops, if he had had the mutton chops, I could see that. Fighting a jaguar to death in a tree fort.
Yeah, but I think I can see potential in it. I mean, maybe it's just because Willem Dafoe's a smaller guy, but he looked pretty big compared to Willem Dafoe.
Well, he was definitely he's a tall guy. He's like 6 or 6'1", I think.
Yeah, he's a little taller than me.
Yeah, he's a decent sized dude. I mean,
and like he has the chest and like shoulders.
But he has the potential.
Just needs to
he's got a swimmer's build,
the potential.
Sure.
Yeah,
he's got wide shoulders, narrow.
He's got that naturally British guy body, kind of slender.
That's for true.
No, he's a way better body than British men. Oh my god,
he is a British man.
He's British.
Have you seen Daniel Radcliffe's body? That's just nasty.
But he's a Willem Dafoe size kind of guy.
True.
Plus he's got like billions of dollars from Harry Potter.
I'm just having a hard time.
We just talked about Henry Cavill, and that guy's a specimen, all right? And he's English.
He's also like
Jason Statham,
the one in a million kind of
too,
dude. Because like Henry Cavill is a huge nerd who gets to play like Superman, Geralt of Rivia, all the things he loves to death.
I was pleasantly surprised with The Witcher because I enjoyed the book series to an extent, but
we're gonna get into that.
Fantastic.
We'll get to that in a future episode. I want to talk a lot about that.
Okay.
So we'll save that for one of the future ones. But yes, I do agree. But I will say this about him: that dude has no ass.
Oh.
But a CD case.
He has no ass.
It's like that like 90s mom butt.
Pretty much.
Or like who's Patrick Swayze's love interest in Roadhouse?
Yeah, just slides out of the chair.
Yeah.
She's just a long back.
Man.
But overall though,
my rating for it would be so I'm a big fan of like Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah.
Right. So in my opinion, I give it like a solid 8 if you enjoy weird movies. Like I really do. So I'd say 8. It's not anything over the top. If you're expecting some sort of crazy twist, or if you want concrete answers in your movies, maybe pass it.
Yeah.
But if you got 2 hours to kill,
like it's very up to your own, like
your mind fills in a lot of the gaps. But I do like the way. I agree. I give it like a 7 or 8. Yeah, as far as like that kind of movie genre, like the horror drama,
the psychological thriller.
The drama horror.
Their approach with making it black and white.
Mm-hmm.
It does add a certain level of unease to it because you can't pick as much stuff out, and so you're really like focusing.
You're like,
well, if you also
if
you paid attention too, it was narrowed. Yeah. It was a 35mm film, but it had like the half.
The blinders.
Half picture. Yeah, like so. Literally, if you have widescreen, it's kind of a moot point in this film because it was narrowed, and your field of vision. I feel like it makes you focus more on like all the aspects of the film and the characters themselves, and the specific like nature of the environment. Because I mean, they're stuck on an island, and it's not even a big island.
Yeah, it gives you a sense of claustrophobia.
Exactly. Like you could see why they would have like kind of like cabin fever type thing in there.
It was also unnerving to me, like, not being able to tell the liquids apart, like, what was blood, what was oil.
Everything's
like,
dark.
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah.
What's liquor, what's
the
water?
The only thing that was light was the alcohol, which I think symbolizes, like, how that was their only escape from their reality. It was all this alcohol that they got all the time. It was probably, like, straight vodka and, like, rubbing alcohol they were drinking. And then they started drinking the kerosene, which...
I also have a question about, just before we move off the topic, what was Robert Pattinson's accent supposed to be? Because in the very beginning when he's calm, he sounds Irish.
It's like a New York, Staten Island
just
kind
some,
of thing.
Bostonian Mick, some Boston street talk.
that northern accent that a lot of people had in that region back in, like, turn of the century kind of thing.
Alright.
You fucking farts!
I'm sick of your farts! That's my
favorite line.
But he's supposed to be Irish! What is this?
No.
Fucking farts!
Because that's what Irish descended from, is like
there's
all
a lot of
those
Irish
like
people in
exactly
Boston.
yeah, turn of the century.
They made a whole movie about it called The Town.
Mm-hmm.
Double shout out to Ben Affleck there.
Yeah. But no, overall I think it was really good. It's definitely worth a watch if you like any kind of drama or horror, that specific type of genre.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Suspense.
Yeah.
What else in movies these days? You're talking about Universal and AMC.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. So apparently AMC is really pissed at Universal Studios or Universal Pictures, whatever you want to call it, as a whole, because of the whole Trolls World Tour incident and them choosing to not have a theater release at all, releasing it on demand on NBC's new platform. I believe it's called Peacock, I think.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that MSNBC?
I think I'm pretty sure it's NBC that owns Universal, and so it's Peacock. But regardless, they are not releasing it in a theatrical release whatsoever. And AMC's CEO, I was reading, is a little upset and said that we are not going to show any Universal Studios pictures ever again unless something changes.
That's quite the step to take.
Yeah, that's a pretty knee-jerk reaction.
Like 1 to 10,
a
quick.
Pandemic of all things. Like, people aren't going to theaters.
They can't.
go to theaters.
They can't. Everything's closed.
Yeah.
They can't.
Legally
like,
closed.
It
On top
doesn't
of
make
that, people. So all those production companies, right? So camera crew, the cast, like those people that are directly involved, get paid up.
Yeah,
up
they
front,
need
right?
revenue.
But
income.
those production companies that fronted the money, they make their money back from people viewing the movie, right?
Exactly.
So I think it's kind of short-sighted of AMC to do that and realize that those companies need to make their money back. Because
it's a hip-fire reaction.
You know, how much money do you think it costs to make a CGI film these days? Cheaper than back in the day, but
like
you're still looking at
easily.
$100 million for that movie.
Easily.
And and who's really going to go? How many people go see it? Like, how many people go see children's movies that don't have kids? Right? So you're really banking on those movies, like people actually getting out there to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of those, I don't know. I never looked at the statistics, but I would, if I were a betting man, I'd say a lot of the revenue for those kinds of films comes from merchandising sales.
Oh,
something like that. Like
Star Wars makes way more money in toy sales than it
That's
does.
why Trolls was so advertised. You can find Trolls anything right now.
Book bags, little notebooks, pencils.
I think it's because they were anticipating all of this shit. Because they probably didn't have that much merch at first. They were just like normal, like their first movie. But now they're just capitalizing on it.
I hate how children's movies, to an extent, outside of some... So I think DreamWorks is safe. Pixar obviously is pretty safe. But a lot of children's movies these days, I feel like, are just really long advertisements.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's like zero plot. And I know people are like, well, it's a kid's movie. Like, yeah, well, so was Bug's Life, so was Onward, so was any of the Pixar films, but those movies have a depth to them.
Remember, those were older movies too, but look at the newer ones. Like, example, like what came out recently? Frozen 2. Look at all the merchandise. Incredibles 2.
I didn't say they were innocent. I just said they were a little safer about it. There's still something there in context for people to like absorb,
right?
Instead of.
But I think that's also what they kind of plan for too, especially being a Disney movie.
Mm-hmm. If it's a good kids movie, the adults will also be interested.
Right, like we waited 14 years for The Incredibles 2.
Exactly.
Oh my God!
Out of the park, man.
Yes.
I thought that was a fantastic film.
Amazing movie.
And that was, in my opinion, one of the ways you go about doing I hate to use the word social justice warrior, right? But that had a female-centric agenda, right? But it was a movie that was totally watchable and relatable for everybody across the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
It
was something like
stay-at-home dads.
Yeah. Elastigirl wasn't great because she was a woman. She was great because she was great at her job and she happened to be a woman.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
And it also has that nostalgia factor. Like you said, 14 years is a long time to wait for a sequel, more so than anything I could think of. And people that had kids since then are like, hey, let's go see the movie. Dad, what? No, we're going to see the movie. Let's go. Let's go.
Exactly.
I think they were also trying to they did it in a good way where they're not everything's about strength. Because Mr. Incredible, he's just big and strong, but
math is math.
Exactly. That's not everything.
Yeah.
You can have different strengths.
Yeah.
And not just physical.
Yeah. I mean, and they also focused on him mostly, majority of the first movie.
The first movie was his.
shift the dynamic, Yeah. I think
his
that was also...
midlife crisis was the first movie, and the second was hers.
Well, no, I feel like
but
it was...
she had a successful midlife crisis.
I feel like it was a knock thing, too, because, the whole... that dynamic, because obviously it takes place in we'll say the 50s, 60s-ish era. So having her be the center of attention instead of him when he was the number one superhero before they went underground, it's a humbling experience.
Yeah.
It's good.
He needed that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it made the whole family better at the end of the
And
movie.
it also gave an example of how to accept that with a little level of grace, right? Or to learn how your new role can be just as fulfilling. When he finds out Jack has superpowers and he's like, this is amazing!
Yeah, baby!
25 different superpowers.
But back to the point about AMC, I want to look at... I would like to see the numbers of what ratio of films or what fraction of films does Universal produce yearly compared to others. How big of a fraction of films are they cutting out? Jamie, pull that shit up for us. How many are they putting out? Is it a fourth of the movies? Or 1/4 of the movies that AMC runs? Universal. Are they cutting out a quarter of their potential revenue because they're mad about one move where somebody needed to make money?
I'd say at least that, because you gotta think Universal Studios alone, I'm looking it up right now. In the last couple of years,
Park,
the Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh my god!
Secret Life of Pets.
Can we stop that? Can we please stop? What is it with the Toretto family? And every time a government agent shows up, they're like, family. He's like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, just listen to some of these though. All the Fast movies, the Minions, anything to do with that, Secret Life of Pets, The Invisible Man that just came out, amazing by the way.
Oh yeah. If you haven't seen that, that was in my opinion, a fantastic and true to form reboot.
Listen to these next two. All the Jurassic Park movies, including Jurassic World, and all the 007 movies are all Universal.
Those are Universal.
Yep.
I thought those were MGM for some reason.
Candyman coming out soon, which looks interesting. The Purge movies, all this is this is at least 25 or more % of all the movies that had come out in the last couple of years. Hobbs and Shaw, The Mummy, Back to the Future.
This company is looking at this.
Might cripple itself.
If they try to commit to this, I think AMC is committing financial suicide. Because less and less people are going to the movies because they're already charging you, a down payment on a house for popcorn and 2 drinks, right? I go to the movies.
It's $25-$30 just per person to get movies, popcorn, drink, tickets.
Yeah, you go on a little date. It's you're looking at $36 for 2 tickets, 1 large drink to split, and 1 large popcorn.
Bump that up a few, $10-$15 too if you're going to see an IMAX or a 3D movie.
Oh yeah. Or with the special theater seats with the big
the leather ones with recliner seats, all that shit.
Yeah.
The dine-in theaters. Yeah.
To be honest, it doesn't even add that much of an effect for me that I want to pay that much more money. I've paid the $5 extra to go see 3D films because that was what was available. I saw the new, what was the new at the time? Is it The Last Jedi? What's the second of the newest Star Wars?
The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. Yeah. So I went to see that, and I had to see that in 3D, and tickets were $15.
Well, think about this too.
I'm going to see Star Wars. I don't like the direction they're taking it, but I'm not one of those fans that's me. You pay the money because
cool
the more money,
sabers.
Yeah, the more money you put into the franchise, the more odds you're going to get that franchise sustained. And I think it worked because we got the Mandalorian.
What if you have? Yeah, that's true. What if you have family of like 3 or 4 or more?
Oh, you're looking at $100 for an hour.
Yeah. Like go out one day and like have to like sit there and like, pay that much.
Won't spend time with their kids anymore.
I think Universal will be saved if Universal says, well, okay, how about instead of going and seeing this movie, we'll give you a 48-hour rental for $3 on Peacock. Like, I would much rather do that. I have a large-ish television. I got a 50-inch television with speakers, so I could sit in my living room in my underwear and have my own alcohol and snacks.
Make my own popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. Make it the way I want it, and I don't have to pay $20
And think about it like in the contrast, too. What if Universal's like, okay, well, fuck all you guys. We're going to pull all our movies from every streaming service, keep it to ourselves, and just one little thing on Peacock. And say, well, fuck all you guys.
God.
I don't know if that would work though, because they're saturating the market with all these streaming services. Yeah. Like everybody and their mom's got one. I'm sure there's some like Slav dude in a basement in Bratislava who's like, I have the exclusive rights to these 3 Slovakian movies.
I mean, it's bound to happen, man. I mean, they're here to stay. I mean, look how big Netflix alone is, and then you throw Hulu, everything HBO Go.
Netflix was before everybody jumped on it. I think, in my opinion, the only 2 that are worth their salt is Amazon Prime and Netflix. Because everybody else is like, I did the free trials for Disney Plus so that I could binge watch The Mandalorian. Of course. And other than that, there's nothing on there that is truly exclusive that I care about.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I don't think they're going anywhere. Like, if anything, it's going to be more. It's going to be one of those wars.
It's going to be like all these people paying for different subscriptions across all these different things for one specific thing they like from that whole platform.
Yeah, they're really going to start, and then the demand's going to go down. People are going to be like,
they're going to be like,
kill it.
This is not worth it. Or they're going to go pirate it.
Yeah, they're gonna do piracy is gonna do to streaming services what streaming services did to like Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
For sure.
Well, what they're doing to like cable television.
Not that we advocate.
No, we don't advocate
piracy.
Yes, we do not.
For all the ATF and FBI agents listening in on this.
FBI, open up! No, I mean just the same way they do. Like
they're killing a dog right there. Yeah. They'll shoot him.
They're killing cable too.
Well, cable. I don't know how cable has sustained itself outside of internet for like 15 years. I haven't watched television.
Well, because there's not sports playing right now, so I mean that's out.
Yeah. I don't even watch sports. Like the most I will watch sports is I will go to NHL.com and watch the Capitals play during the playoffs.
But you can stream that on YouTube now too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I just go to NHL and watch it on my laptop. Like I don't want to watch it on my television.
Yeah.
But I've got stuff to do. Like I don't want to devote, a Saturday night for 3 hours to watch the game when I could just watch like highlights Sunday morning on YouTube for free.
But
I have to put up with a 10-minute
back to movies. So what are we excited about coming out, even though everything's been delayed?
To be honest with you, I haven't been keeping track of a whole lot of movies.
Just Venom 2. Me.
The teaser dropped. The Carnage it's definitely interesting, even though it didn't show anything except like the title.
Woody Harrelson in a freaking flower print goddamn shirt.
But I'll be honest, like I love Woody Harrelson for a long time now, but he
is he playing Carnage?
Yeah.
Apparently, he is Cletus Cassidy. Which I assume he's going to be Carnage.
Bad guy, in my opinion.
He does.
You guys have seen Seven Psychopaths?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
he wouldn't have been my first pick to play Carnage, though.
Jim Carrey.
Definitely not.
Jim Carrey would have. Yes. For Carnage?
I can't remember his name, but the guy that played all those Jokers in Gotham. What's his name? That ginger guy. What's his name?
That's our word?
Okay, sorry. I dropped the hard R. I apologize. But Jim Carrey would have been good, but I'm thinking somebody younger that can play him for a while, though. Like Woody Harrelson's in his 50s, I think, right?
He's pretty old.
I'm trying to think of somebody that hasn't been used, but nothing really comes to mind.
I'm trying to think of someone who looks like a hick.
The last kid to play the Andrew Garfield version of Spider-Man who played Green Goblin, that kid. I think he's got a spooky enough aesthetic about him.
Oh, what's that kid's name?
I don't remember his face.
I know who you're talking about. He's been in a lot of stuff. He was in that movie, and he was also in Valerian.
Yeah.
That sci-fi
Valerian,
movie.
the City of a Thousand
I can't remember his name, but yeah, he would have been okay, I guess. I mean, he's a little, frail looking.
Well, so is Cletus Cassidy's skinny as hell.
He's kind of like skinny, but he's wiry.
That's the point, though. It's like when he puts on when Carnage
remember,
crawls in his blood hole or however the damn
remember, he was also a noted serial killer that killed a lot of people before. That's why he's in prison. Remember?
Well, Mr. Zsasz isn't a particularly large man, and that was one of Batman's first, people that he caught.
True. I just don't think...
Gallery of rogues.
I don't see Woody Harrelson being Cletus Kasady, but maybe he'll surprise us, I'll withhold my strong opinion about it, but...
I think it could definitely be worse than
That's
Woody
true.
Harrelson.
That's true. But also...
Plus with the Tom Hardy Venom thing, it's a departure from the comics. Like, Tom Hardy as Venom, at first you're like, what the fuck? How does that work? And then you see the movie and you're like, oh... That's pretty good. Not gonna lie.
We'll allow it. Was it Morbius is coming out also?
Oh,
have you seen for that?
Yeah, the
Jared
vampire.
Leto?
The living vampire? Yeah, the Spider-Man villain.
Jared Leto is playing him?
Yeah.
Ugh.
They are trying to shoehorn him into a comic book role so hard.
Something successful, at least.
Yeah.
That's what killed. I think that's what killed. For me, the hardest of the Suicide Squad.
Oh,
that was all you hear about is Jared Leto Joker this, Jared Leto Joker that, blah, blah, blah.
Then
and then he was in it for like 2 minutes. He does like 2 scenes where he
had
threatens
more...
a guy on a chair, and then he's like, oh, I really want to have sex with Harley Quinn, and I miss her, and like that was it.
Yeah.
He had more screen time in a music video for the movie than he did in the movie. It's ridiculous.
I'm trying to find a list here of other movies that are dropping.
He totally fits the aesthetic, though, for Morbius.
He does.
I'm not going to lie.
He does.
He's just crazy.
I think he'll be better in this than he definitely was as Joker, but also, a lot of those Marvel movies are coming out. Like, the Spider-Man 3 is slated to come out, which I'm excited for because I love the villain that they said is going to be this Kraven the Hunter, one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man villains. Yeah. Super excited for that.
I don't know a lot about the Spider-Man lore, to be honest with you.
So Kraven is a Russian hunter that went to the wilds of Africa and had some voodoo. I say voodoo, magic thing, kind of like Black Panther, where he was imbued with animal traits. So he's stronger, faster. He can use smell. His senses are heightened.
So he's the Walmart brand $6 Million Man.
Kind of, but without the robotics.
Okay.
Yeah, he uses
He's the ultimate hunter.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Does Taskmaster know this?
He does. He's aware of him, but yeah, but Kraven kind of
a fight they need to have.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Kraven hunts I guess the totems of different animal versions of people in the Marvel universe, and Spider-Man was
Spider-Man.
and Spider-Man was the first person to really take him down, and so he's been obsessed with him ever since. But I'm excited because Tom Holland recently said that he wanted Jason Momoa to play Kraven the Hunter. I would be so down for that.
So that's a movie. I don't know when the release date is. I thought it was this year.
He's too nice.
Jason Momoa is supposed to be.
Oh, Dune.
In Dune.
Dune.
Yeah,
Yes.
what is his name? It's
the Swordmaster.
Yeah, but he's got a name. It's like Dakota something or Kansas. Something.
Remember you looked that up and you were laughing at it. I think you were like something.
I have not read that.
Swordborn or something like that. Remember Jason Momoa in that Dune movie? He's actually clean shaven, and you were like, "Oh no, he's got a ponytail or a man bun."
He's clean shaven in Conan.
Yeah, but that was years ago, man. That was 2011, 2010. It's been a while.
I'm sorry, but his beard makes his whole thing.
If he
it's
does,
just his thing now.
Yeah.
Duncan Idaho.
There you go.
That's his name. I have not seen that movie or read that book in ages.
The movie came out in what, 84?
He looks like a fucking
There's been
Fabio,
3. I think Sci-Fi even did a
Fabio.
version. It came out in late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that was 98 or 97, I think, when that TV... There was a maxi series or something like that, yeah, but people were freaking out already. I mean, it's got Oscar Isaac, that Timothy Chalamet, or whatever you call him. Josh Brolin's in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh Brolin's in it.
It's a star-studded cast.
Oh, it's a good cast.
As much as I hate reboots, it really bothers me that we have I feel like we have such a stagnation across all forms of media in terms of innovative or creative new stories. But I do like when we have the technology that we have now. If you went back and just made a shot-for-shot remake of the original Frank Herbert's Dune with the technology we have now, fantastic.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be hard for them to mess it up because Dune is so beloved. And if you just stick with the source material, you can maybe tweak 1 or 2 things. But don't mess it up.
Though.
Don't
just
don't.
say,
you saw what's happening with Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
Kathleen Kennedy's like, we don't have comic books and books to draw from. It's very hard to make it. What?
There
you
are
did
millions
that!
of books.
Yeah, that was pretty upsetting when they said that none of that was canon. I think a lot of people were really pissed about that.
I'm super bummed, because some of my favorite books are from the Expanded Universe.
Right.
But the other thing about the Expanded Universe that I think had a benefit was you could get away from the space magic. Right? Like, I get the appeal of Sith and the Jedi and, like, how that is, like, a huge power dynamic.
But there's so much
galaxy.
more.
Right. And what happens to... For me, they really capitalized on that in Rogue One, right? There's very minimal exposure to the Force for the whole
there's
movie.
none, really.
Right.
Except
And
for
then
Vader.
that last 10 minutes, when Darth Vader rolls in, there's an entire platoon of rebel soldiers, and he's just a walking meat grinder. Like, you really get to see why people were terrified of Darth Vader. Because Luke Skywalker, who had like maybe 5.5 minutes of hand-to-hand combat training with Obi-Wan, was able to fight Darth Vader for like 15 minutes until he distracted and was like, "I'm your dad!" And then he cut his hand off. Right? Like, he was able to hold it because he had that space magic.
Fuck your hand, dude.
But
well, you're not supposed to talk back to your dads.
not after that. But, also, one I'm really excited for, too, is Doctor Strange 2, or the Multiverse of Madness.
Are they keeping old boy? What's his name? I'm terrible with actors' names.
Benedict Cumberbatch?
Benedict, yeah.
Yes.
Cucumber.
Yes.
Benedict
Cumberbatch. Yeah.
The Cumberpatch Kids?
What a name. That can't be his birth name.
That's the most British name I've ever heard in my life, dude. Yeah. I think that's his real name. Yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's his real name.
Yeah. I'm 99% sure now. Now you got me questioning.
I would disown my parents.
Pretty sure.
Their parents, yeah, I know. His parents were like,
yeah, think, like
what can make the name Cumberbatch better? Oh, I know. Benedict. What the fuck?
We name it after our favorite food. Thanks, Benedict.
Benedict, really?
I gotta turn my phone on silent.
But, I'm trying to think. And then Captain Marvel 2 is supposed to come out around the same time, which I'm like, about, because the first one was a little disappointing to me. But, I don't know.
It was disappointing to everybody. Well,
some people were like...
it wasn't...
I think it rode the curtail of the Me Too movement a little bit too hard.
Okay, first of all, shut the fuck up. Second of all, they were not invested in the movie when they were making it. They were invested in the next Avengers. And this was the bridge to it. That's all they really cared about. They didn't write a very good story for it. They didn't write, character development very well. It just wasn't overall a good movie. The whole Me Too movement thing, yeah, we get it. You guys think, everyone's riding on the curtails of it. But guess what? This is the real things that women deal with on a day-to-day basis. Just because they're portraying it in a movie doesn't mean it's riding on the curtails. It's just actually giving you an insight to what they go through.
Okay, fair enough. But
the problem with that, and this is I have like a TED talk on how that has affected comic books, is they sacrifice any meaningfulness to a story to get this message out there, right? So they're sacrificing character trait development, or like giving people reasons to identify with these characters or do any of this stuff just so they can shoehorn in this message. And I get it. I am on board with like the improper, imbalanced treatment between men and women across the spectrum of any profession. But when you're trying to make a film that is unwatchable so that you can get this message out there, and then you turn around and blast everybody who didn't watch it or didn't buy all the merch for it because it was bad, and then you're like, well, you guys are just misogynistic, this and that. Like, I'm not. I paid $100 to take my wife and kids to a movie, and it sucked. I don't hate women. I hate your movie. I hate it. Write an article for The Atlantic. I'll read the hell out of it. I'll subscribe to the newspaper. That's where that message belongs. All right? It doesn't belong in my Star Wars. Right? And if it is going to be in my Star Wars, give me a reason to give a crap about Rey, or explain to me how Rey was able to pick up all these, how she became a master level lightsaber fighter and a grandmaster level Force user in 6 months of training with somebody who didn't even go the route of a Jedi. I don't know if they brought that up in the film very much, but Leia did not become a Jedi Knight. Yeah, she
stopped.
She got some training though.
She started it, but then she quit to go be
but the
leader.
Lifetime level that Kylo Ren got. Like, no. he grew up under Luke Skywalker's tutelage.
Well, let's not forget he was mentally unstable as fuck.
Remember, they also... they also did say that he didn't complete his training. Remember, because Snoke was
he
like,
failed, yeah.
It's like, well, maybe we should finish his training now.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. As far as like Captain Marvel, though, like for me at least, because I'm a comic fan. Always have been, always will be.
Yeah, we get it.
Anyway,
you have like 500 comics.
Anyway, for me, seeing her on film like that, like didn't go to the source material. You know what I mean? And that's why, for me at least, being like older, like not like growing up on these Marvel movies, I want you to stick closer to the source material because she's a great character. Carol Danvers is a great character.
Yeah, I had a problem with that film in... She kept bringing up this inequality between men and women, and nobody wanted to talk about how all of the other women in the film were doing all this crazy, hardcore, awesome, badass stuff, and nobody said a negative thing about it. Like, you know, she's like, "You just hold me back because I'm a girl." That sniper lady in the first 5 minutes is a girl, and she was kicking ass, and she was doing her mission, and shut the fuck up. You have a laser fist. What exactly is your problem?
I think a lot of it too was like they were like, I mean, obviously they're one of those like supremely, like we think supremely of ourselves, alien race of the Kree was like a little bit racist towards her because they know she's not really a Kree.
Okay, that's fair. There's like
I think that might have been a lot to it that you don't think about because you don't think about that at hers, but like, oh yeah, she's really not one of us. Fuck her.
Yeah. And then you have the humans thinking that she's actually an alien for a little bit of the movie.
Yeah.
And they're like treating her differently because she's an alien.
Yeah.
Like it's not, and then she gets like all her memories back about how like she was picked on and everything and stuff, and like that shit happens.
That part, that part was like realistic, and I get that part.
And stuff,
yeah, like, the military, like,
but the fact that she had complaints up until that point, where I mean, she was treated with a certain amount of respect and confidence inside of a special forces unit for this alien race, and she's just like, "Well, you're not letting me use my full potential." Like, you could destroy a planet. That is how much power you have. You need, of course, they're gonna rein you in. You're a walking nuclear bomb.
But she didn't know that.
Yeah, but they did, and they explained it to her a little bit. They're like, look, like you could seriously hurt somebody.
They had an agenda, though. They were limiting her and trying to control and to manipulate her. They were. That was the whole point.
I think it was a little...
They were trying to...
all of that in one
it's a little bit... It was just... Yeah, it was too convoluted of like, we want to put this message out, and then... But we're not doing anything to support that. It was definitely
not a good movie. I will agree with that. And it's not like... There are a lot of misogynistic people who have come out against the movie.
Oh,
Let's say that.
See, that's the problem, is that everybody gets lumped into that. When you have an extremist group that shares a
like the feminazis.
Yeah.
Like people are associating
everybody
that.
who supports any kind of Republican or you know, that's I think the problem with the extreme right and left wing is if you share a value that isn't on one goalpost, everybody on that goalpost assumes that you're at the other goalpost when you could be, you know, on the 45-yard line.
Yeah.
Another one I want to talk about is what are your thoughts on the new Fast movie coming out? Fast and Furious franchise.
I haven't watched the Fast and the Furious movie
I don't pay attention
since
to
the first one with The Rock. Like after that, I was like, and we're done.
Yeah, I've never watched a full Fast and Furious movie all the way through. All I know is Vin Diesel constantly says family. And
Coronas.
Paul Walker died, and that's about it.
Yeah, rest in peace, Paul Walker.
Yeah, you're beautiful.
Like, beautiful. I get that people are really into it, because, like, oh, we got the message of family, but also there's cars and guns and...
explosions!
It really, I mean, for what they... I don't think they're trying to hide the fact that it's just, like, mindless action fun. Yeah.
It's super cheesy. But... what was it? I think it was like American Dad or something, where they were doing like this thing where they found like the Fast and Furious 7 script, and they're like, oh shit, and it was like all gay scenes. Like it was all gay. Like the writer had made it so gay, and then they had to take out every page that had it in there, and they were left with 7 pages that they made into a movie.
Jesus.
And it was like... Okay, well, I guess the homoerotic tension in it is pretty interesting because men are so obsessed with, like, the power dynamic of cars and, like, other buff men giving them validation.
Yeah, I always thought that was very... like, you get that. You get these pseudo-homophobic guys or who, like, really try to capitalize on their perceived masculinity, right? It's been like, you see it all the time in the military to an extent, but like in frat houses in college, and all you see on their Instagram feeds, if you look over their shoulders, like aesthetic dudes, like they're just looking at these guys like, oh, I'm trying to get like that. And like, you are essentially are looking at gay porn, buddy. Like
more or less.
Getting your nips hard over this dude's belly V and his dick root.
Females because I want to be a hot fit female. That's not how it works.
All I'm saying is like I do get a little hot and bothered seeing The Rock.
Okay.
Let's just be honest.
He's one of those guys that he has not gone the way of like Jesse the Body Ventura yet or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like he gets older and he gets more shredded and he's just.
I can't wait to see him as Black Adam.
Yes.
Oh man.
That to me is a fantastic casting.
Fuck yeah.
Although
there's some that just fit.
There's something I can say about The Rock in any movie is he just brings his own personality into it. He doesn't
he's the
he
Rock
doesn't play a character. Yeah, he just plays himself.
Yeah.
And the character has
he might challenge that with Black Adam though, because he's not going to be this jovial guy. Because Black Adam's like a super stoic, serious bad guy who's like thinks he's got the biggest wiener in the locker room. And
I mean, you have.
I can see that goofy, like, mean face he always does, like. I can see it already.
Yeah.
I mean, you have those two types of actors, though, and I've said this for a long time. You have those method actors that get in the characters, like Christian Bale becomes that character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
becomes an asshole.
What was it? The guy that played, Gangs of New York? Daniel Day-Lewis. Method actor. Super method actor. Javier Bardem becomes those actors.
Yeah, Javier.
You know?
I think
Skyfall.
One of the scariest people I've ever seen on screen was
No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
But then you have people like George Clooney. Is George Clooney playing a character?
No, it's just George Clooney.
Brad Pitt
in a movie.
Brad Pitt is a person.
What's that doctor from ER doing in my Batman film?
Like those guys are those they get written as themselves playing a character.
Like Tom Cruise is like that.
Yeah, that's
like post Mission Impossible 1.
Yes.
Tom Cruise has played Tom Cruise
every movie
role.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mission Impossible. It's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
It's not Ethan Hunt. It's Tom Cruise.
Because there was like before that there was a separation. It was like Days of Thunder was a different character and he acted different than he did in Risky Business versus Mission Impossible 1 versus Top Gun.
I think he just figured out like okay, people are coming to movies because I'm in the movie. I'm fucking Tom Cruise.
He makes good movies too.
He does.
I think he's a good example of how you can disagree with somebody's to an extent, right? Like obviously anybody commits like a capital crime. Like I don't agree with any of the shit Tom Cruise does off camera. Like I don't like
he's
Scientology
he's
particularly. I don't care about him as a person though. When I go see Top Gun 2, I want to see Maverick. I don't give a crap about seeing Tom Cruise the Scientologist.
Dance monkey dance.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't bother me.
We kind of went through that weird phase too in like the '90s, like Magnolia, Eyes Wide Shut. Those movies that people really kind of like.
I skipped those. To be honest,
I've never even heard of those.
You're okay.
You're
okay missing that.
Was it Vanilla Sky?
Yeah, Vanilla Sky too. That was
That was a trip.
Started to come back to himself to the good stuff, and that's I think around the same time Mission Impossible came out, like late 2000s or like late 90s, give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is like that? I don't really know if Leonardo DiCaprio has ever been embroiled in a.
He's an actor.
He generally keeps to himself, but
he dates girls that are way younger than him. Which
25 is his cap. Like he will not go past 25.
But does he have to? It's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. Just because you have the ability to attract and maintain relationships with women that much younger than you
doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you're going to find happiness or anything like that either.
I mean, maybe that's not what he's going for. Maybe he just wants to, fucking
get some puss,
get it and bail. But it's strange to me when you see somebody that has that much maturity, they have a career, they've got all this stuff, and they don't want to be in a relationship with a woman who maybe has matched.
You say that, but how much do you really know about him, like in his personal life?
Because
he keeps pretty quiet.
He's
kind of a quiet guy.
And that's another reason, like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, one of mine and my buddy's favorite films, The Revenant.
Yeah,
that
really
movie
good.
Is not Leonardo DiCaprio. That is, what's his name, John Glass or Will Glass or something like that. Anyway,
that.
DiCaprio became that guy.
Yeah,
and that you could tell that bear's CGI, but it looked like he got his ass kicked by a bear. That movie is fantastic, and he acted it very well.
Yeah.
I think it helps so that Tom Hardy was his counterpoint in that, and that man is a powerhouse.
The semi-scalp? Yeah, that was pretty dope. Yeah.
What's that movie with Tom Hardy? Lawless? Where he's the bootleggers?
Yeah, where he gets the Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's a good flick.
Yeah. I liked the new one.
I feel like we lost our point here.
Yeah. We're just talking about movies.
Yeah, just talking about movies.
I really liked the new one, though, with Leo in it, with Brad Pitt, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh! Yes!
That was I thought it was really good.
It goes Pulp Fiction, Inglourious Bastards, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. In that order.
I could agree with that.
Those are my favorite Tarantino films.
Yeah.
I like the first two you said. I don't know about Hollywood.
Did you not see it? Or did you just not care about it?
I don't think you've seen the whole thing, have you?
I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw enough.
It got me really interested in the Sharon Tate murder from the Manson family. So I didn't know about how that had actually occurred.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't realize that she was pregnant when she got murdered.
Oh yeah, she was like
That's terrible.
almost due.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was about to pop.
But that movie was the reason I got my new dog, Duke, to the St. Bernard, because I saw the movie and I was like, that seals it. I got to get a pit bull. I got to get a pit bull and train him real well, like Frank's trained. And this dog can, if somebody breaks into my house, he can munch them. And then we were looking through Craigslist, and I was like, $250, St. Bernard? Heck yeah. Got him.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies, but I've seen Kill Bill. I've seen...
We just watched Django.
Yeah, Django.
I might have to put a tie between Inglourious Basterds and Django, because that is my favorite.
You really like Django, though.
That is my favorite Jamie Foxx film.
For the most part, yes, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Quentin Tarantino is just a very...
unique?
I don't know. He's tasteless to me. I don't know if that's the right word to describe it, but he's tasteless.
Because of the language that's used, or the gratuitous amount of violence?
No, it's just the way he portrays them. Like, I like violence.
Who, though?
Yeah,
like, what do you,
he's directing it. He has control over how it's being given out. Like,
right, but who's portrayed?
Like, what do you be specific about? What do you mean? Like, give us an example.
I don't know. It's really hard because I have so many different scenes like coming through. It's definitely a unique way of like showing violence than I've seen in all these other movies.
Oh, I thought you meant like character portrayal.
Yeah,
you're talking about how.
I thought you were talking about the racism or something like that too.
I'm talking broadly amongst all of his movies.
Yeah, his films are filmed. I guess that we're supposed to avoid alliteration, but they're filmed. They're very like, you can tell it's a Tarantino film when you watch something.
Yeah, it's very like
he has a unique style.
He has an on-brand kind of thing, but like at the same time, I just find it tasteless. Like I don't.
Maybe it's just a style or an aesthetic that you don't agree with or enjoy. Because I mean that's subjective, to be fair, right? Like some people talk about like, oh, Stanley Kubrick is this it's perfectionist, amazing filmmaker, and I don't think I've enjoyed a single thing Stanley Kubrick's ever made. At all. I just don't. And that's, but that really shows you the subjectivity of what you find beauty in, right? Because you ask most people, would be like, Michelangelo's most famous piece, and they're like, oh, the Sistine Chapel, it's gorgeous, it's this and that. I think Starry Night by Van Gogh is far more beautiful, but that's just because of what I find value. Yeah,
so it's all subjective.
On this topic, I think the thing that is most on brand for Quentin Tarantino movies, whether he's directing them or just acting in them, is women's feet.
Oh,
that is his.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
Everyone's
got
he's
being paid to fetishize these women's feet in his movies, and I don't know. That just makes me uncomfortable.
Like if because your thing apparently is like dudes with beards. If you had a movie, wouldn't you make a Viking film?
I hate the fact that he wants a beard.
Yeah.
But like, he has control over these actresses. He's in a fucking sort of authoritative spot for them. And he's taking advantage of it.
I will say this, like, as far as like fetish you could have, feet's kind of like, not
it's
as
gross.
bad.
That's not a I wouldn't say that's an exploitation of them. Like, you don't have to show your feet. If you don't want to do the movie, you absolutely don't have to do the movie, right? And, like, that's one of those, like, well, he's playing that against them. You know, it's not like he's like, okay, well, if you want to be in this movie, you got to come rub your feet on my wiener in my trailer every night at 5.
You don't know that, though.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure if he did that kind of stuff by now, he would have got found out.
I don't know.
But when a director puts something that they like into a film, isn't them necessarily swinging their dick around. Like, that's one of those arguments that really turns people off to the whole Me Too thing or the exploitation of people in films. Because it's just not like Jon Favreau puts himself in movies or like makes movies go a certain way. That's because that's his movie. It's his name on the line. Like, he's trying to make a product that he wants to make, and if you want to be a part of it, then you're going to do this prescription that he said, right? Like, think about how a football team would be able to operate on the field if the quarterback's like, you know what, I don't want to run that fucking play. Fuck you, Belichick. I'm going to do this, and they lose. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, they listen to the coach, and they all have a role to play, and they do it a certain way because it's that guy's.
Okay, but like, what does that have to do with the plot?
Nothing. He just likes to put that stuff in there.
So
what does it have to do with the plot for Jon Favreau to be the heavy infantry Mandalorian in The Mandalorian? Nothing. He could have replaced it with some other big fat Samoan dude.
Yeah. And
nobody would have known because he's wearing a mask. But he wanted to be in it.
You also got to think too. Like, this script has to be vetted by dozens, if not over 100 people.
Yeah.
All the executives, all the other co-writers,
think about how much stuff is on the cutting room floor for that film, right? That could have been even way worse. Like, it could have been like Sharon Tate sucking on her own toes in the movie theater.
Look, I'm just scarred by Quentin Tarantino sucking on Salma Hayek's toes in that one.
At least it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
Sticks her foot in your mouth. You take it.
No, he probably asked for that scene, though. That's my point, is, like, it's so fucking weird to just, like, openly be like, I want this fucking in my movie now. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just really
all I'm going to
weird.
say is that's, like, for me, at least, that's on the bottom of what could be and what has been in some movies.
Yeah, with Serbian
you know,
film,
with, let's not even get on that. Oh, God.
What?
Yeah, so
I'll tell you later.
You can watch it on your own time. Yeah. That's it.
We do not sponsor Serbian film, by the way.
Yeah.
So
that's a hard no.
But,
like,
there's a lot of worse things that could be in movies, you know, as far as, like, bad things like that go and, like, weird fetishes and things like that. But, I don't know. At the end of the day, dude makes good movies.
True.
Dude makes
in
good
your opinion.
And it's not in
a lot of
I think
film.
1 to 3 of his movies are good movies.
But that's still a few.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do the foot thing in every movie, though.
How many movies
he's only made 9 or 10?
I don't think there's any foot stuff. Oh yeah, maybe. I think maybe 9.
9 or I think nine films right now. I think
a third.
But even still, like, a lot of foot stuff isn't in, like, hardly any of his movies. You know?
Yeah, it's not.
I can think of maybe a couple.
Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Except for when she gets shot in the foot and has to have a cast made, but it's not
but that's not
just
like,
a bare foot sitting on.
Right? Yeah, it takes like 2 seconds. Yeah, it's not like.
I think Pulp Fiction's one. There, it's in.
Yeah.
I think it's in. It's definitely in. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's in Dusk Till Dawn.
There's some foot stuff.
Was that the vampire one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one I was thinking.
He didn't. All he did was act in that. He produced. He produced. Okay. He helped produce, but Robert Rodriguez, I think,
still acted it.
That would make sense.
Somebody else. Yeah, it wasn't him. He just acted and co-produced or something like that. But Jackie Brown, there's a little bit of foot stuff in that.
I didn't like it.
One thing about Kill Bill, too, I was just like, the beginning, when she woke up out of the coma and found out that she'd been, like, being raped for years.
Oh, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
But I'm glad she
That's
killed that
fucking
guy.
awful.
Well, yeah. That's a huge part of human growth, is that you go experience a trauma and you recover from it somehow. And in her case, she murdered a man and then
a lot of men
took his shitty ass truck and bailed.
A pussy wagon.
Yeah.
Oh God, I hate it. I hate it so much.
But hey,
I know. I just don't like seeing that kind of shit.
Well, she got closure at least. A lot of people don't.
Well, nobody wants to see it.
That's the only thing they let women be traumatized by, is what I'm saying.
Well,
it's always sexual in nature. It's not always that way. Like, it doesn't always have to be she was raped.
Well, there's a lot of films and television on domestic abuse, even if it's not sexual, like being hit by your partner, right? Or being subjected to, the Invisible Man. Hers wasn't explicitly sexual. It was very much.
But it's seen as something that women are more exposed to. Like, you don't see a lot of movies about men suffering from domestic abuse.
Well,
unless it's from another man.
While it's not reported as much, I would dare say that those numbers aren't as high.
No,
Men
I'm saying
are much less likely to experience.
But it is something that has been brought to light more so in recent years. Like, I think there was something on Netflix or something like that where a kid gets like a male, like a teenage boy gets assaulted by his other like teammates or something like that in the locker room or something.
Oh, yeah, with the broom.
Yeah, that's it. I can't remember. Was it 13 Reasons Why, or is it something else?
I think that's right.
I think it's 13 Reasons Why that he got assaulted, and that's something, you're right. It is something that isn't as much reported, but
this is why men are more afraid to report it, because they don't think it's supposed to happen to them, like domestic abuse, sexual assault.
Yeah, it's not supposed to happen to
exactly.
anybody.
But like, they're more comfortable with assuming it's going to happen to a woman.
Right, but that's which is why Alien was so scary when it came out.
And that was a huge symbolic thing about being, like, pregnant and, like, how...
Against your will.
Yeah, against your own will. And being, like, a mother, like a basically dead-eyed kind of, like, you're stuck now.
Yeah.
You will be feeding this child, and you have no other use in life.
Ugh, what a masterpiece of horror, though.
That one was good.
Alien,
it was really symbolic and very true to a fear that a lot of women feel.
The other thing you have to keep in mind with that, and this is, I definitely have this as a parallel when it comes to comic books, is they operate through marketing more than they operate through art these days. And when you have, and it's just like crime statistics or any of these other things, if a majority of the crimes committed are committed against a certain group, demographic, that is what is going to be portrayed in the media, with the exception of a few outliers, right? Because that's what actually happens, right? When you have perpetrators in a film in the inner city getting arrested by cops, 90% of the time it's going to be somebody of a minority, whether it be Hispanic or black or whatever, because in those cities, in those communities where 95% of your population is those people,
that makes
the people
sense.
that so when you have these movies depicting sexual assault or domestic violence, that typically, at least in reported numbers, happens to women. So that's, they don't want to change this thing. They don't want for people to be like, oh, well, that would never happen because it was a guy that got raped. Like, well, that happens. That 100% happens. But they don't want to break that level of
that's not exactly what I'm saying.
Disbelief.
Is like I'm saying that women don't always have to be, like, their traumatic experience in a movie doesn't always have to be being hit by another man or being raped by a man. Like, it doesn't always have to be that kind of thing. It can be a woman, like, fucking them up for life. It could be like their mom giving them extreme mental illness.
Right.
Like, it could be anything, like all these men in movies have.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what if she was forced to kill somebody?
Yeah,
or what if she accidentally,
men have this range of traumatic issues in movies, but like with women, it's always limited to sexual trauma and like domestic abuse trauma. That's like all you ever really see.
You should write a movie or a comic book. Like really, that's like people have these. And I 100% would support you in it if you wanted me to help with editing. I would do that. Like, I think we need to have these new, fresh ideas because we're stagnating in comic books and literature and movies and video games. It's the same stuff over and over and recycled. And people want to people
fresh stuff.
Yeah,
fresh ideas. Fresh.
I would watch that movie if there was a movie where like a girl has like PTSD that's messing her up way down the road because she accidentally shot her brother in the back of the head in the backyard target practicing. Like that's a whole new take, and that's a totally different level of trauma, right? That's something that you
can't really
you
couldn't control.
Yeah, and that's not one of those things I think you could ever really even move past. Like eventually with sexual assault, you have that potential to be like, okay, you know what? I was violated. It wasn't within my control. But if you accidentally shoot your brother in the back of the head and he is dead, you got a dead little 4-year-old. Like you're not probably that's never gonna leave you.
Yeah, see, it's like the Lighthouse. He let that guy die, and he's suffering from that mental trauma that he let this man die and watched it before his eyes. Yeah. And it's like, cool. Like, that's a very traumatic thing to happen right in front of you.
And I also like the thing, too, like, you can't really escape it. Like, he never really got away and got rid of that guilt or anything like that, which kind of drove him.
He went from one extreme to another extreme. There was no pause to decompress.
Yeah, that was kind of the worst decision on his part.
Yeah, full circle there. With the
Yeah, you like that? You like that? Yeah. Well, speaking of which, so got pretty long with this thing. Yeah, but thanks for joining, guys. That was this week's episode of Den of the Silver Fox. And special thanks to Tor and Landon for joining us on this episode.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Next week we'll be coming to you again, and I'm pretty sure we're going to do an anime episode next week. So.
Oh God.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me watch an anime.
Maybe.
You don't have to. We just have a couple of friends who really like anime, so
we'll figure it out.
Well, I've got some masterpieces that I would love to talk about and why I like those, but they're all older. So like,
hey,
Akira.
We'll get to them. So,
all right.
Thanks for tuning in this week, guys, and as always, thanks.